It's been 13 years since Hiro Matsushita became the first Japanese driver to compete in the Indy 500. 10 years since a Japanese engine manufacturer began competing in American open-wheel racing. But 2003 would be a year of first in the Indy Racing League. The first year for two Japanese engine manufacturers in the all-oval series. And the first time that a Japanese-American driver, namely 25-year-old Roger Yasukawa, would pilot a car in the IRL.
I was born here in America. I consider myself being American, but my parents are Japanese. I speak Japanese. I eat Japanese food. So, I think I am Japanese in that standpoint.
Yasukawa's childhood was split between the United States and Japan, with racing the one constant. His father worked in marketing for several Formula One teams, creating a natural path for young Roger to follow.
I think I've got into racing because of my dad. Because of him, I was able to meet a lot of people in racing that got me up to IndyCar Series.
After successful stints in the Barber Dodge and Toyota Atlantic Series, Yasukawa was able to secure a ride for the 2003 Indy Racing League season with the newly formed Super Aguri Fernandez Racing. The team would be a collaboration between one of Yasukawa's early supporters, Japanese racing legend Aguri Suzuki, and kart owner-driver Adrian Fernandez. Fernandez had moved most of the personnel from his second kart team over to the rival Indy Racing League.
It's one of those things that happen in racing, and you would like to see everything united, but there's some things that you can't control. But at the same time, we had a two-car team last year, and we had a lot of guys on the team, and this was a great opportunity to continue with that, and it's proven that even though we are separated, we've been able to perform in both series.
Helping Yasukawa make the transition to the IRL, 3 team members with a wealth of racing knowledge.
Roger was truly a rookie's rookie, only with half a season of Formula Atlantic, some Barber Dodge races. I mean, the kid has got a lot of talent. He's come a long way. A lot of things that I take for granted and I'm not looking for, Roger's, he's not there. So starting at the bottom like he has this year, real tribute to him.
It's been pretty interesting because when you get somebody that's really starting out as a rookie, and you have to go back and really emphasize that he learns all those things that you basically take for granted. And when you go revisit that, it's amazing how many things you can find in the basics that you've just been glossing over in the past.
Coming in, Roger's shown that he's obviously has the talent, and he has the I guess the proper attitude about this whole thing. His approach is very good. Pretty much every time he goes out in the car, 9 times out of 10 he'll come back and he'll learn something.
All that experience is a big thing to me. And each advice, helps me learn quicker. So when they tell me something, I actually listen 100%, try to use that advice. And again, I think I have been successful doing it. As you get closer to the top, I think it gets harder to find that 10th that you need, but still they've been there and they know what we need. So we're getting there slowly but surely.
While most rookies enter the Indy Racing League looking forward to competing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Yasukawa also marked the IRL's first race at Twin Ring Motegi in Japan on his calendar.
To be honest, I didn't know what to expect when I got there. And when I went to the parade lap, everybody was putting the horns up and waving the flags and cheering me, and throughout the whole lap it was like that, and that certainly got me excited. I didn't know what to expect from the fans. I didn't know if they were going to cheer for me, and it just turned out, I mean, I could almost see every single fans in the grandstand waving at me and calling out my names and, cheering for me. So, it was certainly emotional.
So here we go, back to Green Flag Racing at Twin Ring Motegi. Scott Dixon is going to be shown the leader. Buddy Lazier runs second. Roger Yasukawa is third. Tony Kanaan is fourth. Kenny Breck is fifth as we watch the cars now run through turn number 2. It is the 11th car. Tony Kanaan had a big problem. 2 cars involved and up against the wall. One of them, it looks like, is the, well, let's see.
It's Elio.
Yeah, we've got Elio, the 3 car, and then the Panasonic machine is also involved. Is that Roger Yasukawa,
yes,
Mark James?
Yes, it's the 55 car of Roger Yasukawa. He had just gotten passed by Tony Kanaan, and I would imagine Elio was going to try to take the same line, and they got together.
Yasukawa's first season in the IRL typified many a rookie campaign. Flashes of brilliance mixed in with disappointment. Through the season's first 14 races, Roger had posted 6 top 10 finishes and held a slim lead over Andretti Green's Dan Wheldon in the Rookie of the Year standings.
I knew winning the Rookie of the Year wasn't going to be an easy task. But having said that, I think I have to give great credit to my team. They helped me a lot throughout the season to build my learning curve. Dan had 2 races experience last year with Panther Racing, so he had some advantage there, as well as all the testing for Andretti Green Racing. And I think initial part of the season I had to play catch up. But again, I'm a good friend with Dan, and I have the respect for him. I hope he does for me, and we're going to be racing really hard to the end.
And the end is in sight with just 2 races remaining on the schedule. Next up, a home race for Roger at the California Speedway. Roger Yasukawa splits much of his time during the year between Los Angeles and Japan, where his family and girlfriend live. Roger has just returned home after traveling overseas to witness the birth of his niece.
On the day when I got to Japan, she actually had a baby. She was due to have her baby a lot sooner, but by me getting there, I guess the baby decided to come out, and so I have 1 nephew, and this new baby actually was a girl, so a niece, and it just makes me feel older, I guess. It's really important for me to go back to Japan as much as I can, because most of my team sponsors are from Japan. And you don't really get to go back there a lot often, and if you don't, people tend to forget about you. So I went back there for a week, spent time with my family, and visited my sponsors, and everything was good.
And since he's away from home more often than not, Roger lives in a modest apartment in West Hollywood.
First thing you notice is probably my shoes. I have the Japanese tradition of taking off your shoes. And in Japan, basically, you have a tradition of taking off your shoes, mainly because in Japan, traditionally, we don't have carpet, or we didn't have carpet. And I think that is the main reason you go up into the room without a shoes, barefooted. So to the side, you could see my kitchen with a lot of food, maybe not snacks. I don't cook at all, actually. I figured out since I travel a lot, it's cheaper just to eat out, and I only eat breakfast and sometimes lunch at my home, so I don't use my kitchen that much. I have a scale here. There's no specific reasons to be in the kitchen, but I guess between me and my girlfriend, when we decide to open up the refrigerator, we weigh ourselves first, and then if we're overweight, we have to go on diet, so we don't eat the chocolate or drink the beer or whatever. But I think it's just there. I don't know why, but sometimes I use it. It's very important during the season to stay light. So for the driver's standpoint, it always helps to be weight conscious and be within the same weight throughout the season. This is my father, Minoru Yasukawa. And he's actually sitting in the favorite place of my room, or my apartment. I spend probably at least 6-7 hours on this chair, I would think, going through the internet and the emails and doing a lot of work. Obviously nowadays email is the ultimate way to stay in touch with your friends, sponsors, and I get many of them during the day. So I would say this is my favorite place, and obviously, as you can see, my dad's working on the email as well. This part of the room, it's sort of my racing collection. I also have all my helmets from past 4 or 5 years. The basic theme for the design originally was white, red, and blue, as you can see here. I want the color to be white, red, and blue because of the American flag, as well as sort of like a rising sun symbol in it. So this part is round, and if you look through this, it sort of looked like a snake, python pattern. This one was specially made last year because it was a snake here for the zodiac year. And on the back, I have sort of my Roger logo. This is an older logo, actually. This year I have a new one. And if you look really closely, this samurai logo, it's my initial with a R. The samurai is a R and the shadow is a Y. And a friend of mine in New York designed the logo. And this year's is more, I would say, the newer looking logo. This is sort of the classic one.
One day before the race weekend officially gets underway, Roger heads to Dodger Stadium, where he's scheduled to meet LA pitcher Hideo Nomo for a photo opportunity for the press. Yasukawa and Nomo share the same fitness trainer, Tatsuya Akawa. The time at the game is just one more advantage of racing close to home.
As a home race, I have a relaxing atmosphere, being at home, and to be able to come to a game like this before the practice day, it's really relaxing. I mean, I think I'm enjoying myself, and hopefully tomorrow when we start practice, I'll be 100% focused to drive fast.
When Yasukawa's car is rolled out for Friday morning's first practice, his team is hard to miss. In accordance with team colors, the crew has bucked the trend of black pants, favoring a jaunty royal blue.
I don't mind this because I've worn a similar color in the past, back about 10 years ago, and won a championship. So coming in, they look hideous. They're very hot, but I've had luck with them, and hopefully the next few races that'll come our way.
I love them. I absolutely love them because I can look up and down the pit lane and I know where my guys are. And I can see who they're talking to and stuff like that.
I think they're certainly funky. I don't wear them, so I left it to them. If they made me wear, the bad thing about me, I can't say no to people. So if I had to wear them, I don't know what to tell John or Tom. But having said that, I don't think Tom or John wears them either. So I don't think they will ever tell me that. But they are certainly funky looking.
Well, I think that makes the guys look good in the bars at night, but I'm not wearing them.
At first glance, the 2-mile California Speedway appears to be identical to its sister track, the Michigan International Speedway. But while Michigan races have often featured packs of cars running inches apart, California races have typically been more strung out.
It's a more difficult track. The track itself has less grip, and it's quite a bit bumpier, and that changes the setup. And what that lack of grip, and of course this high ambient temperature, what that does is make the car worse in drafting in traffic. And so what happens is you lose the front end in traffic, and you have to back off and run back as close as you can get, but still get some clean air. And I think that's why this doesn't draft as well as Michigan.
Friday's first practice session is solid, if not spectacular. Roger posts the 11th fastest speed, right in the middle of the 22-car field. But the afternoon session is a different story. Yasukawa's lap of 224.324 miles per hour is second fastest of the day, just behind Andretti Green Racing's Tony Kanaan. As one of the 3 fastest drivers of the day, Roger is summoned to the media center, where he's the focus of attention for the Japanese press.
This year was the first year for the IndyCar Series to be in Motegi, first year in Japan, and I think between me and Tora Takagi, we were the big factor racing there. If we are successful, I think IndyCar Series in Japan, it will be successful. So I surely hope that I could win one of these races soon, so a lot of people in Japan would have more attention in just IndyCar Series in general.
The next morning's practice session is the last before qualifying, and with just 30 minutes to work, communication between Yasukawa and his engineer is critical.
So we'll take some drag out of it for qualifying. Yep.
Look, communication has been great, and that's one of the things that I think threw me a bit, is because he relates like a very experienced driver. When you start looking at the complexity of all that, it's pretty amazing that a guy can learn that in a season.
Coming into the season, I didn't know much about the IRL car, or actually I didn't know anything about it. And working with the engineer, that was a fairly new thing to me, because I drove in the ladder system, which didn't require engineer support. So I only had 1 year working with the engineer. I think it took a little bit of time for us to gel together 100%. Early part of the season, I think John was able to give me a great car from his experience, and then from mid-season, I was able to ask him for more things that I want from it, and from then we knew what we wanted and what we had to work for, and I think that's part of the reason that we're doing better in the race lately.
Satisfied with its qualifying setup, the team uses the session to focus on its race setup.
I didn't really want to do so much this morning, just because the condition is going to be different for qualifying and warm up and the race. And I was the same situation yesterday, where the track was really nice in the morning, and in the afternoon it totally changed. And going into qualifying, I think we're in pretty good shape for qualifying and the race.
Roger, don't worry about your limiter going out of here, and you can go right up on the racetrack into turn 1 past that green light if you'd like to, or you can do a normal exit. Track's the same you had this morning, getting a little warmer. I got a cone at the start-finish line, so don't go below the white line coming for the flag. Green flag, third time by, and 2 good ones.
Roger Yasukawa, who leads the Bombardier Rookie of the Year point standing. This is the team that is owned by both Adrian Fernandez and Aguri Suzuki, and it is the Super Aguri Fernandez racing team. The Panasonic sponsorship on this Honda-powered car. Roger Yasukawa, the driver to beat is Elio Castro Neves, the Toyota-powered Marlboro Team Penske Dallara. 15th quick on the grid right now. It's Roger Yasukawa, who's sitting provisionally on the inside of row number 8.
Yasukawa's fast lap is good for 16th on the grid. Not great, but not a cause for concern either.
It's a little bit less than what we expected. I think we anticipated too much with the heat situation, and we geared ourselves too short. So that hurt us a lot, but I don't think qualifying position at this track matters so much. So the important thing is tomorrow.
Race morning at the California Speedway. Starting back in the field, Roger and the team have no secret formula for getting to the front.
It's a long race. You've got to position yourself for the last 10 laps, and you know, sometimes it just comes by pure luck. Sometimes you have to work yourself up there. And you know, we've been working really hard for a race car, and hopefully I could work myself up front by myself, and with a little bit of luck, I'm sure we're going to be up front by the end of the race.
Yasukawa's team will also have a special guest in its pits, as team co-owner Adrian Fernandez has taken advantage of an off week in the kart schedule to lend his support.
The Toyota Indy 400 about to take the green flag. The crowd comes to its feet on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Southern California. Twin green flags wave, and we are underway.
By the time green flag pit stops begin on lap 42, Yasukawa runs 9th, having gained 7 spots since the start of the race.
Come on down, this is going to be a normal stop. Come around this car. You got Alex is not here, you're clean.
The race is going by at a blistering pace as the wide confines in California make for long stretches of green flag racing. And unfortunately for Roger, the man who's chasing him in the race for Rookie of the Year is the man he's chasing on the track.
The fastest driver so far today, Dan Wheldon, 224.127 miles an hour.
And right behind him in the Rookie of the Year battle is Roger Yasukawa. They're running 6th and 7th, those two newcomers. So a good battle for the Rookie of the Year points lead right now.
Dan Wheldon is on pit road, so he is rolling toward the Andretti green pits, and we'll pick up that one momentarily. Roger Yasukawa, he is also in.
His car right into the box, all four wheels getting ready to be changed there. We also work being done down on Dan Wheldon's car. Now all four tires are changed on Yasukawa's car, waiting for the last bit of fuel to get in. Now Yasukawa's down and away.
Fueling would be an issue all day as the team is unable to get the methanol to flow quickly, slowing down the pit stops. Roger has steadily made up ground all day, but after the last round of pit stops, he runs by himself, unable to draft his way to the front.
Sam Hornish Jr., it looks like he is 2/3 of the way to running the table to close out the season. He takes the checkered flag, and Sam Hornish Jr. has won the Toyota Indy 400. The crowd here at California Speedway has just witnessed the fastest IndyCar Series race in history. The average speed, 207.151 miles an hour. Roger Yasukawa, on basically what is his home track, winds up with a good run here today.
Roger's getting better, more experience, and this is the fourth race that I come in the year, and the last one that I will have this year. But it's the team is really working well. We have good people here, and it's just getting better. Experience is all about it, and you know, 7th place today, great effort for the team.
Well, Roger Yasukawa has been pretty surprising and has done a nice job. He's got 6 top 10s this year, only 4 DNFs. You've got to be pretty doggone competitive to do that in this one.
He's got to be very happy with coming in here as a rookie and walking out to 7th on a historic day.
We're always kind of disappointed when we don't win, but I think Roger got everything out of the car that he could, and that's what you always look for as a team. And the car wasn't just quite there, so we'll take our 7th and go to the next race.
We might have had a little bit better shot there, especially with the way Castro Neves fell off there at the end. 5th might have been a real number. We gave up too much time in our last 2 stops, and I don't blame our guys. I think just technically we're a little bit off with maybe we haven't optimized the fueling system, the refueling system with this larger speedway tank that we use here at the longer tracks, because it sure today seemed like it took a long time to fill that thing over when we're using the short track tank.
We certainly only had a 7th place finishing car today, I think, and we all worked hard for it. And considering the starting position, I think it was good. We really wanted to finish up front or ahead of Dan Wheldon, and he was doing a good race, so I give him the credit for that. And the Rookie of the Year championship will go down to the last race. Hopefully I'll finish ahead of him, and whoever does will probably deserve that Rookie of the Year.
Yasukawa seemed fine to retake the rookie lead at Texas, running as high as 5th, but a gearbox problem would send him back to 18th place with 53 laps remaining. Yasukawa would rally to finish 10th, but it wouldn't be enough. Wheldon would finish 3rd, claiming the Rookie of the Year title by 11 points. While the team is disappointed to have lost the rookie race in the season's final event, there are positives to build on for 2004. Top 10 finishes in 8 of the season's 16 races, and with all the major players returning next year, Yasukawa will look to make his sophomore season one